let's go to Kellyanne Conway and Karl Rove. They join us now. Karl, what about this effort, Everyday Americans and the Teamsters?
Well, I love these everyday Americans. This has become a standard part of every Republican convention, and sometimes they are the most compelling speakers available because they are ordinary Americans sharing their ordinary concerns, which are so important to the Republican message. I thought that was a very unusual speech by the Teamsters president. Look, let's be clear. There was something in it for both sides. Donald Trump gets to show that he is open to letting the voices of labor speak, and the Teamster president wanted to do this because if you look at the surveys, the workers in the trade unions, like the Teamsters and those that are involved in making things, have increasingly become Republican, while their leadership, like the president of the Teamsters, have remained Democrats. I noticed this was a guy who did not support Trump's tax cut to make American companies more competitive and make it easier to remain in America. He didn't support Trump's regulatory relief, which made it easier for companies to operate and stay in America and employ Americans. But he got tonight the opportunity to send a message to the Democrats. You're losing my people to people like Donald Trump, so you better open up your doors to DNC and give me a bigger piece of the leadership opportunities.
Yeah. Kellyanne, your reaction when you saw President Trump, who you have worked with very closely in your career and at the White House, walk in here tonight?
I saw a man who knows he got a second lease on life. I see gratitude and graciousness. People obviously here are so excited it's palpable. But I think he got to witness what is now Donald Trump's Republican Party, Martha. The Hispanic woman who became a U.S. citizen, the African-American vote as seen through wonderful South Carolina Tim Scott, the young people through Charlie Kirk, David Sachs representing the business community, and of course, the capper of the evening, Amber Rose, I guess a public figure, a popular figure in entertainment, but also you see the head of the Teamsters. Everybody that Trump's bringing together is reflected in these polls. He seems to burrow into the Democratic coalition now. He doesn't need to win 50% of any of those groups to become the next president. Last thing, make America wealthy. I think you saw tonight not a contest of personalities, not personal insults. This is putting the Biden-Harris record on trial. Bidenomics versus Maganomics. The people who are young are saying, when am I going to get out of debt? When can I buy my first home? When can I get on with the natural accoutrements of an adult life? So people know gas and groceries are up, but you heard other things tonight. It's housing, it's utilities, it's repairs, it's maintenance. People think everyday life is unaffordable. That's unfair. They want the energy independence. They want to return to the party of the worker. And I feel this is Donald Trump showing a year after Brett and you moderated the debate on that stage with 8 or 9 other qualified men and women in the Republican Party and not Donald Trump. You're seeing that this is the party that Donald Trump is building, and he's bringing so many of those candidates that ran against him into this House this week to also address us.
All right, that is a good point. That debate was here in the Fiserv Forum. The former president was not there. He is here tonight and is poised to potentially take advantage in a bump in the polls after this and after what happened Saturday.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.